Yes, I'm live on YouTube. This is True Power of Mine, and this is a special report. On the line today is Jimmy Blakely, the man, the myth, the legend. We appreciate you coming on the show again, Jimmy. So, we was just now
Yeah.
talking about the
Good
yearbook.
morning.
Can you talk a little bit more about this yearbook you're putting together?
Well, I'm just trying to get my year together. Just kind of, it's the beginning of the year, just booking shoots, trying to schedule things, figure out what everybody else's schedules are so we can, kind of coordinate with everybody. It's a never ending process.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You're a very busy man.
Oh,
Putting in, one thing I want to ask you about. Do you know laws about photography? Like when and where you can actually photograph or take video?
well, it depends on where you live and where you're at and what you can get away with. So, California, the laws and rules are very, very strict anymore. And so we kind of do, a lot of us guys, we find areas where we can sneak in and kind of, not have to, that are kind of private and go in and do a shoot and then kind of get out before people really know that we're there.
Oh, I got
Um,
you.
I used to do a lot of shoots at the beach down here. I used to go down to like Newport and Balboa, and they've actually really cracked down on stuff down there anymore. And they want you to get permits and make sure you have insurance and all this type of stuff. And it's part of the reason why California is losing the industry out here because it's becoming so hard to work. So everybody's doing stuff out of state.
Right.
And
Well, what about
I know
the
with
First
some of the stuff.
Amendment protection? What about the Amendment protection? I thought that if you're like say if I took my camera here and I want to walk down the street and let's say I want to go into the post office or the police station, I thought under First Amendment I have the right to film anything in line of sight in a public space.
Okay. Well, okay. So I actually got a really good story about that. Um, I was needing some stock photos, and I needed them of the front of a bank. I
Oh,
needed the ATM machines, and so I actually got up early one morning, and I already scouted out where I wanted to shoot them at, and I actually shot from the public area, and kind of a long lens, and I never even really got out of my car. I just shot the teller, not the tellers, but the ATM machines,
mm-hmm.
and I went to a couple of different banks and I got home and I started dropping everything onto my computer. And next thing I know, I have a knock on the door, and there's a cop standing at my
Oh
door.
shit.
And somebody, I guess, had saw me taking pictures of the banks and reported it as I was trying to set up a robbery or something.
Oh God.
And the cop there was kind of had an attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, okay, this is he wanted to come in my house, and I was like, no, you're not coming in my house. I've done nothing wrong, and we kind of got into a debate about me taking photos. I said I didn't do anything wrong. I was on public property.
Right.
I shot. This is what I was doing pictures for. I said I'm doing a project for a photo project, and they really kind of got aggressive with me. And the next thing I know, where I was living at the time, I had a main street behind my house. There was like 3 or 4 cop cars back there, and they were looking over my wall.
Wow.
And then I had 4 cop cars in front of my house.
Wow.
And
You had
so,
7 units
and
at your house.
yeah, and well, the funny part is I have a really good friend of mine that worked at the sheriff's station. So I called her after they finally left. Um, and she was like, I really can't talk to you right now. We got this major issue going on. They think that somebody's trying to set up and rob banks. They caught somebody trying to take photos of. And I said, really? I said, what's the address? And she worked in the dispatch area, and she looked at her. She got quiet and she goes, oh my God, is this really you? And, and so that was funny, but, you got to be careful nowadays. I mean, especially now. I mean, this was a good 10, 15 years ago. Now it's even worse because there's so much stuff that people are afraid of or
Mm-hmm.
just being careful about. It's that what's that thing?
Oh, see something,
Oh
tell the cops
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah, Janet and the Ponetera.
right, right.
But as a professional
Yeah,
photographer, doesn't this impede your ability to conduct your business? You know, you're a professional guy. It's not like you're just a novice at this.
yeah, yeah. It does, but the state wants its cut also.
Mm,
They have to look at if I'm in a public, let's say I'm at a park and I'm out there doing a photo shoot and my model trips and falls. I can kind of understand where they would go. Okay, and then the model wants to sue,
oh yeah.
and
Okay.
so you always have that aspect of it also. So everybody's kind of covering their butts anymore, which is kind of unfortunate. That people do that. Now, I've done a lot of work in the South, and it's a whole different ballgame back there.
Oh, in what
I've
way?
actually been working on TV shows, and I've had people invite us into their property or homes or whatever and say, hey, you want to shoot here? Go for it. I mean, we'll let you, and then the next thing you know, they're barbecuing for you and offering you a cold beer.
Southern hospitality.
So, yeah, exactly. And it just depends on where you live and, what the state and the requirements are. So it's kind of it's I can understand, but on the second hand, also it's like it's ruining businesses anymore.
Yes, it's making it too damn hard. It's like I've known so many people who lived in California, and I've lived out there myself. And
Right.
personally, I will tell you, it is hard to open a business in California. There's so much regulations, so much corruption. You see some guys, with construction business and that, doing jobs, no permits. You try to do the exact same thing. The code officer comes and gets you, and it's fines and this and that. We have to do something about
Yeah.
this to change the way that the average American citizen can make some money out here. This is getting to the point to where not only are they violating your First Amendment right, as a person, not a professional photographer per se, but just as a human being, you have the right to film anything in public. It's been
Right.
case law, okay. But so for these
Yeah.
officers to respond to you so aggressively, you had like what, 8 units at your house. All right, county cops. That means the people of
Yeah.
that county were paying their salary. So instead of them catching child
Right.
molesters or a rapist or someone really with a gun that's going to do bad things, they're going to mess with you. For how many hours the ordeal? Because I'm assuming they were there for a little while. It just wasn't a 30-minute
Yeah.
visit.
They were there. No, no, they were there for almost an hour trying to get into my house for me to because see, I'd never really did anything wrong,
Right.
and so they didn't have any right to come into my house, and plus I denied them the right to come into my house also, and like I said, I told them, I said, hey, what did I do wrong? And the cop said nothing. I said, okay, then why are you here? And it was like, why should I let you in my house then? I'm
Exactly.
not doing anything wrong. I was on public property. I did not, go onto private property. And so what is the deal? And they really, it was one of those things where I could have gotten into probably more trouble if I let them in my house because you
Yes.
never know what they're going to try and,
Pin on you
do or
or
whatever.
plan.
And so, so, and, it's one of those things where you need to stand up for yourself sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't rude or impolite,
Disrespectful.
but I was like, okay, no, this is, unless you have a good reason that I've done something and, you don't have a warrant, why am I going to let you in my house?
Did they try to threaten you with arresting or detention or anything if they wouldn't get access
Well,
to your house?
they, in a roundabout way, they did. They didn't actually come out and say it, but they were like, being very, very intimidating, trying to be. And and where my house was, I had huge windows. My whole back wall was nothing but windows, so I
Mm.
could actually see them. And they actually blocked off a whole street behind my house with, because of the cop cars that were out there. And it was like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
All I was doing was taking photos. And I think that's part of the issue with things now. Things have become so politically incorrect and
Yes.
that you can't do anything. I mean, I remember back in the day, I'd go to the beach with some buddies and we'd walk along the beach and we'd take pictures of girls on the beach. And, nothing bad, just,
Just
hey,
casual.
we're out here and just having fun, and, nowadays you go out there and try and do that, take pictures at the beach, or let's say you see some strange girl that's, very attractive and you think, hey, I'm going to grab a picture of her. Boy, man, you're going to end up in jail real quick.
Well,
It's,
how could that be?
because
She's
the
in
times have
public.
changed.
She's in public. How could that be, Jimmy?
Yeah.
How can you go to jail for filming something or photographing something that's literally in public view? You're on the beach. That's public land. No one owns the beach in California.
Right. Yeah, it's called public domain, is where where you can shoot and do that type of thing. And but everybody's become so afraid of what are they going to do, and part of it's because of what's happened too, which you can't blame people. Why are you taking my picture? What are you going to do with
Right.
it? When I was doing it back then, it was before before the internet was really there, and you were still shooting film, and it wasn't like you were going to be uploading it to some kind of weird site or something.
Some creepers.
Nowadays, yeah, yeah. Um, but and you can't blame women for wanting to be more careful nowadays. They need
Oh
to be,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
it's you know
But
it's gotten to the point where
I honestly believe if the woman's beautiful, she would actually take it as a compliment as long as you don't come across as a. There's so many good women out there, but there's so many women, like you said, if you look at them any old kind of way, oh my God, he's trying to visually molest me, blah, blah, blah. We got to take that nonsense and
yeah,
put it to the side. We're all men and women here.
yeah,
We all like to have fun. We all like to show off our physique. If you have that physique, show it off. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
And not to body shame nobody. There's some bigger or larger women that are just as pretty and just as beautiful. It's all in the eye of the beholder is what I'm saying. But to sit here and basically make everyone so scared to express themselves or show scared, like think about it nowadays, Jimmy. If you're walking down the street, you see a beautiful woman, you're like, hey, you look nice. Oh my God, you might be scared to even say that. She might take that the wrong. Oh, he's trying to verbally rape me. So we have to
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that this little nanny state that we're in, this little state that, oh my God, we can't say this, we can't say that shit has to come to an end. We have to start being real with our words, real with the way we feel, and real with the way we express ourselves. That's why I love your
It's kind of a
medium.
two-way street.
Yeah.
It's kind of a two-way street. I mean, guys have to be very respectful,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they need to be more observant. Also, if it looks like you're making somebody uncomfortable, then you need to back off and check yourself. But
Yes.
then again, too, guys nowadays are becoming so afraid of being able to even say hi to a woman anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because of the threat of what may come out of it. I mean, it's terrible. And more, a lot of the guys I talk to, they say they won't even ask anybody out anymore because they're afraid somebody's going to get, the wrong impression, or it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
taken wrong, or whatever. And it's just, it's going to get to the point where it's going to really have major backlashes. Nobody's going to be doing anything to find a relationship because they're going to be so afraid to do anything.
And that's happening right now. They actually have a law that they're proposing. It's called rape by seduction. Basically, meaning you take this young lady out, you wine and dine her, you go back to the house, a couple of things happen. She could wake up the next day and say, he seduced me and then he raped me. It's that type
Yeah,
of behavior, especially when you pertain that situation. Look, back in college, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not proud of the things I did by no means, but sex was
sure.
readily available, and there was it was a very chill atmosphere. But what happens when those girls starts popping up? Oh my God, he raped me. They could have got me kicked out of school. And just because
Right.
let's say that you did something with this girl and you decide I don't like her, I like this other girl, and you start talking to her. Well, the other one gets upset. Now she can use these laws as like a weapon against you. And these guys know this. They know this. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and I feel so sorry. A lot of these guys get a bad rap. The millenniums are lazy. They're effeminate, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not effeminate and they're not really lazy. What it is, they're smart. They understand they go and behave the way we behaved back when we were kids. Their asses would be in jail.
Right.
Bottom
Yeah.
line.
I mean, and it's kind of sad too, because I mean, if you look at society back, let's say back in the '80s, when I was, just coming into my own, I guess, or kind of becoming a major adult,
Right.
you'd go to the movies or the TV shows were all about men being very manly, and if you saw a TV show, the man would grab the woman and she would be
Yes.
fighting him, and then he'd kiss her, and she'd melt in his arms, and that's the way we were. That was the society back then, and how we were taught that things were
Yes.
supposed to be. Women wanted powerful men, and they wanted to
Yes.
be kind of like swoon or swept off their feet. Nowadays, I mean, you don't even want to hold somebody's hand, or you're even afraid to open up a door for a woman because they're going to be offended.
Exactly. You almost need
You know,
you almost need before you go out, and certainly before you make out with her or anything, you almost need a physical contract with a notarian in the back seat to make sure it's all legal
uh,
bingo before you do it.
Actually, there is an app out there right now, and it's called a dating app, and it's a contract that you and whoever you're going to go out on a date on
Mm.
fill out and sign, and it breaks down what is going to be allowed on the date and what is not allowed on the date, and what you're consenting to and not consenting to.
I hate to laugh. I hate to laugh because this is a very serious topic. But oh my, are you serious, Jim? I mean, this is craziness. Whatever happened to spontaneity?
Yeah,
Whatever happened to the
yeah, yeah,
fantasy being fulfilled? I mean, what type of fan? Okay, you're gonna
right.
show up in a nurse's costume with knee highs on and a trench coat. At 7:45.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah,
so ridiculous. You know, but we're
it is. It's terrible. I have a friend of mine that was at work, and he had a female associate he was working with, and she was having issues on the computer, so he went to stand behind her, put his hand on the chair as he was looking over her shoulder, or his hand slipped, and he accidentally touched her back.
oh
And I mean,
god.
it wasn't anything. It was just oh my god. And he freaked out, thinking, oh my god, this that could actually he could have lost his job, because if she would have said
Mm.
something, that would have been some kind of sexual harassment. Or I mean, that's where men are thinking right now. That's how
You better.
scared.
You better be thinking like that.
Yeah, you have to be.
And
Yeah, yeah,
let's drive that point home. In all seriousness, and this is not funny. This is where the rubber meets the road. Okay, when people start losing their physical ability to economically take care of themselves. When you start losing your job, you start losing your career, and not only that, you get that reputation. There is not any real man out here wants to have that reputation as being some handsy rapist type guy. Not any real men I know. And the bottom line
no,
is,
no,
but at the same time, I don't know too many cats who are willing to be like, before we go on a date, may I touch your leg, or may I hold your hand? Come on, come. That
right,
happens
right, yeah,
spontaneously. That happens organically, naturally. And if people don't understand what I'm talking about,
yes,
then obviously you have never experienced true love, or any type of true emotional connection. Because if you have, you understand. You cannot script love. All right, you cannot do that.
right,
It's impossible. That's why we pay actors millions of
yeah,
dollars a year to pretend that they're in love. Okay, so it's not an
exactly,
easy feat.
exactly, yeah.
You know, Uh,
Yeah,
do,
and don't get me wrong, and no woman should ever have to be put up with anything, and
yes,
they should always have that right to
yes,
say no, or be able to get out of a situation.
yes.
And but it's at the point now where it's becoming so scary. I mean, nobody wins in the situation, all men or women, and
Well,
it's
to put in
uh,
perspective, my partner, Dimebag, recently single right now, right? He has told me personally that he's out there and mixing it up, right? So many women are saying it's so hard for them to find a real man nowadays. It's so hard to
right,
find
right,
some guy that's not basically their girlfriend with a penis. All right, we as
yep,
human beings desire a certain thing. Now, granted, you just and I both admitted we were raised in a certain way. You ride
yeah,
up, you save the day, you're a hero, and then you go in the home, and you grab this woman up, and you do what you got to do. And we also agree that if you was to try that same behavior, even though we're all been kind of conditioned to accept it, your ass is going to go to jail, be on some sort of registry somewhere, and properly so. Because once again, I do agree with you, Jimmy. Women deserve respect.
Yeah.
They deserve dignity, and they deserve love. Okay, you should not
Yeah.
use your
Yeah.
physical strength to hold them down. If they need to go, by God, you stand up and be a gentleman and hold the door open for them and let them go. Or if they don't even want that, you just sit there and don't do shit and let them go. All right, you do not have that
Yeah.
right. You do not have that right, and that goes for other men. I mean,
Yeah.
to put it, in modern times, you don't have that right to do that to another man either, or transsexual or anybody. You don't have
No.
that right to do that to
Right.
no human being. Period. And I just want to throw that out
Right.
there. All joking aside,
So
because
yeah.
sometimes we talk
No.
about
No.
these
Yeah. It doesn't
topics.
matter.
You
Yeah.
know,
Doesn't matter what your preference is, but there should still be respect, and
yes,
that's all. That's just a sign of respect and courting. I mean, that's showing that you actually care about somebody, and uh, you. And that's where they get feelings. Now feelings become with somebody because they're going to look at you and go, "Wow, this guy, or this person, I guess I should say, will hold the door open for me. He'll,
right,
when I'm going up the stairs, he's standing behind me because he knows if I fall." That was so. I've got a Hispanic background, and my grandma was 5 foot tall on a good day. And man, she demanded that we treated any girl that we brought to the house with total respect. And if we pulled up
yes,
to her house and we weren't over there opening up the door to let her out of the car, or on our way out, if we didn't open up the car door or open up the front door for the girl to come into the house, oh my God, we got it. We got it. I mean, we got an earful, and she had her yardstick with her. We get that too. So,
rightfully so.
so you know, and but that's how you show respect for the person that
Right,
you're care for them.
right.
You do stuff like that. I mean, even to this day, my mom, I take her anywhere or even go out to dinner. I will open up the car door for her. I
There you
open up
go.
the restaurant door. It's what you do.
Right.
And
Sir, I want to
but
break that
nowadays you got
thought
to.
down. I want to break that thought. What you're talking about there, Jimmy, is respect, and I want to break it down because of the fact that so many people lose that understanding. You're not saying that you're better than a woman by holding that door open for her. Look, the reality is most women on par are physically weaker than men. Okay, and this goes back to you, ladies. All
Yeah.
right, stop choosing weak ass dudes to lay with. You choose a strong man, someone that you
Mm-hmm.
can respect, someone that understands what it means to respect a woman. And when he does these things, these
Right.
chivalrous things, like hold the door open for you and protect you when bad guys attack you and accost you, you treat him right. That means that, not saying that you have to be his slave. I'm not saying that. You never be nobody's slave,
Right.
ever. All right. But you should have enough
Yeah.
empathy in your heart. If this man is going to fight the world for you, then you should have enough decency not to fight the man. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times
Right.
in these relationships, especially with young people, when I'm talking to them about their various relationships, now that I'm the old man on the hill, I try to bring in the sense of personal responsibility on both parties. It's not just,
Right.
in other words, let's flip the script. The woman's out making the money. Let's say she's a corporate chick making a lot of money, good paying job. And for whatever reason, the guy's at home. Okay. Well, buddy, I hate to tell you, dude, you're going to have to be doing the dishes. You're going to have to be doing the laundry. You're going to have to be
Yeah.
doing the floors. You're going to have to be taking the kids to doctors and to the school functions. And then at the end of that day, bud, you need to get your ass out and cut the fucking grass too. I mean, you're still going to have to do some
Exactly.
manly things.
Yeah.
But there's so many guys,
Yeah.
they want to lay up here on the couch and play the video games and smoke the goddamn pot
Oh.
and drink the beer and
Yep.
do the dope. And they don't do shit. They don't even do half the time. They won't even fuck their
Yeah.
old girl. They don't do shit. Those
Yeah.
cats have to get that. We
Yeah.
gotta be done with them because they are a danger to
Yeah.
everybody. All right. Not saying that you have to literally
Oh
be
yeah.
busting your back to be somebody. I'm not saying that, but you
Yeah.
have to be
Yeah.
doing something because the definition of success is a man or woman striving for an obtainable goal, and they're doing something every day to reach it. They're a success in
Sure.
any stretch of the
Sure.
imagination. And well, real quick
Yeah.
about the whole law thing with the public thing. So for a fact, is it still legal in all 50 states if I'm walking down the streets, I can film openly, or do you really got to watch your P's and Q's on that nowadays?
You got to kind of watch your P's and Q's because, it is, public domain, but it depends on what you're filming and if it's making somebody uncomfortable. If they say stop filming me, then you need to immediately put your camera down. Or if they say delete those images, you need to do that immediately because now you're infringing on somebody's personal space or their personal themselves.
Gotcha.
I was actually doing when I was in Vegas at the show I was shooting. I was actually doing the behind the scenes and of the convention center and people there. I actually had that happen to me, even though I was there on the behalf of the company I was putting the show on. Somebody saw me take a photo of them after they were sitting at a desk doing something. And he came over to me and said, "Hey, I'm very uncomfortable with that. I don't want to have my picture taken. Would you please delete those?" You know what? I got respect for the guy. Yeah, you know what? Even though I had the right to do it, I also had the right to listen to him and what his issues were. And I took the photos right there and deleted them right in front of him and said, "Hey, I apologize. I said I'm here with the company." And he goes, "I understand, but I just don't want my photos." I said, "They're gone."
Damn.
So it's again, it comes back to respect on both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to, because I could have been a total jerk and say, "Hey, I'm here with this company. I can do whatever I want."
Yep.
You're here, and and then next thing you know, you got the cops are coming in, and you have a big scene on there.
But see, that's why you're such a class act. That's why you're such a class act, Jim. You know when to just be a decent human being. You know what I mean? That was what you just said there is just being a decent human, and that goes back to your grandma's training. That actually boils over into all things a person does, and it all goes back to your foundation. Granted, some people out here don't have the right foundation. Let's be honest. The people were messed up, and that's what it is. But as an adult, as a sentient human being, we all have the power to change our situation, change our lives, change. More importantly, the way we think. That's what it's really about.
Right.
And
and you gotta be accountable. Also, you gotta be accountable to yourself.
Yes.
If you're screwing up or you do something wrong, step up and say, "Hey, I did that wrong." Take take the consequence and go, "Okay, hey, my fault. I did this wrong or whatever." And but to sit around and bitch about it and complain and hey, blame it on somebody else.
Yeah, that don't work.
You're just you're no, it
that
doesn't
don't work. But why do you think it's so hard for people to do that? Why do you think it's so hard for people to take responsibility? Seriously, as a whole, a lot of people they refuse to take responsibility for their action.
Well, I think it has to. I think some of it has to do with upbringing. It depends. And nowadays, I mean, I hate to say it, parents are so afraid to discipline their kids.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents, they spanked us. They didn't beat us, but they spanked us. And if we did something wrong, they gave us the option of either tell the truth and get your punishment or lie about it. And then we're going to find out. And then you're going to be, you're going to really regret it. And, I don't think the kids have that option anymore. They just, have too many options and say, "Hey, I'm going to call the cops on you. I'm going to call child services," or, I mean, I went to a Catholic high school. I had no rights. We were sent. We went there, and then you'd walk in the school grounds, and as soon as the bell rang, they'd lock the gates. There was no leaving campus. There was nothing. There was rules and regulations, and we had dress codes. And the nuns. We had nuns and priests there, and the nuns, man, they didn't put up with anything. I mean,
did they spank?
I remember it was really. They had, and the parents actually would have to sign a release in front of you saying that they allowed them to spank you if you were out of line. And the parents would do it in front of you. Say, "Here, you got to take this in and say, this is giving you permission. You screw up, you're going to pay the price." It's and we weren't abused or anything, but it was teaching respect and morals and you do this and if you do it, if you're doing something wrong, then you got to pay the consequence, and that was all there was to it. So there was no ifs, ands, or buts. Either you're being good or you're being bad. If you're being bad, then you got to pay for it.
You paid for it with SWATs.
So
See, when I went to school in public
yeah.
school, they still did the SWAT thing, right? And the principal, like in the elementary school, he had a SWAT. It was every bit of like 3.5 foot long. He drilled holes in the middle of this flat piece of board, probably about 4 inches wide. And the reason why he did that, so that when it came down, he'll get less drag. And oh my God.
Exactly. Yep.
I
Yeah.
still
I
remember
I,
some
I
of
remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. So when I was in, gosh, it would have been, I guess, junior high. We had wood shop back in the day still.
Oh yeah.
And which they don't have for, they had wood shop and they had all those kind of things that you could do. But yeah, I remember one of the projects we had to do in wood shop was we had to make paddles for the school.
Oh God.
So, we had to make them, so it's like, okay, well, where's that?
No, hold up. Where's that pine?
How bad is that?
A balsa wood.
Yeah.
I want some balsa wood paddles.
Yep. Yeah. Oh,
But you know what? We laugh about it now. But honestly, going through those experiences, it does point out where you messed up, or at least where you got detected messing up. A lot of people want to subscribe to this Dr. Spock. Don't spank the child, talk to the child, blah blah blah. My question is, after you talk to that child and that child looks you in the eyes, and this takes one arm and swipes off all the food on the table, what do you do then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the bad thing is that you see it in the schools now where these kids are attacking the teachers. It's terrible, and they have no respect for. There's no consequences because they're
exactly,
minors, and they know that.
Exactly,
and it's very unfortunate.
I mean, look at even the school, these school shooters here lately, right? And this goes back to the respect thing. These guys have such a low respect of humanity, right? So respect that they're going to run up here and to shoot people indiscriminately. And then the sad thing about it, and this is the really disgusting, most of the time they get taken alive unless they take their own life, And then what happens? They might get the death penalty, they might not, There's no accountability, and the sad thing about it, there are a lot of responsible gun owners out here in America. So many.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
But it's just one or two.
If you go back to the 60s and 70s, I think even the early 80s, especially in the southern states, the kids would go to school in their pickup trucks or whatever, and they'd have a freaking gun rack with guns in the back of their truck.
Yeah.
And they'd park them in the parking lot, And back in the day too, they actually had gun training classes where they'd take you out and teach you how to shoot.
But
you never heard about all this. Yeah, you didn't hear about school shootings or anything back then.
No.
And, so I don't know where or what went wrong with the society for this to happen. But, I don't know if it has to do with discipline or respect of things, but it's terrible. It's terrible.
A lot of it literally has to do with people not knowing their place as far as, not like their place in society, but their place in the world in general. You already know when you're a teenager, you're halfway mixed up anyhow. You think you know everything, but you really know nothing. And no one can tell you that you don't know anything because you know everything, all right? So you got these kids with all these, mixed up emotions. They don't have any firm foundation. They don't have any discipline at home. So they go to daddy's locker. If daddy even has a gun locker, they'll pull out that little pistol or the rifle, and then they'll go to school on that little, mayhem, the rampage. Okay, this type of behavior, and then the first thing everybody wants to say, oh, let's just ban the guns, let's just ban the bullets, let's just ban this and ban that. Look, where's it gonna end? Are we gonna start banning rocks and sticks, banning swords and knives? I mean, come on. The only thing at the end of the day.
Actually,
what's that?
I just heard something on the news about another country where they're going to start banning knives.
Oh, stop. Just stop. How are you going to eat a damn steak? How are you going to eat a steak dinner?
Some city, well, exactly, because they're trying to, and that's exactly the whole thing. People are like freaking out over this going, where does it stop? But yeah, the city is going to say that you're not allowed to carry and then the knives in your house have to be restricted to a certain style and kind.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
talking about invading your, taking away your rights right there. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I
It,
mean,
it is
come on.
unbelievable.
When people, letting people control what you have in your house on something like that, oh my God, that's ridiculous.
But seriously, Jimmy, hasn't history already proven how far governments will go? Look at what China did back in the 90s. They went into your house and they told you straight up, you're only going to have one kid. You're only going to
Oh
have one
yeah,
bit
yeah,
kid.
yeah,
And then look what the
yeah.
consequences they have in China right now. And this is something that no one talks about. You're only going to hear it on special report. In China right now, they're having a situation where there's so many men and so many few women, that causes some issues on a social level. Okay. So what's going to be the
Huh.
consequence? Well, what's going to be the consequence is that they're going to
Yeah,
have to swoop up somebody's check. That's gonna be. You can't have all these
exactly.
men over here, yeah, and all these chicks over. Shoot, those borders ain't gonna mean a damn thing. They're gonna bust them down, snatch up them chicks, and those gonna be some Chinese, basically chicks. After it's all said and done.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
and, and not
yeah.
that that's bad, but uh, the only reason why I bring up
That's
China
what. It,
it was
what was
because
that movie with Clint? I think it was with Clint Eastwood. Was it called Paint Your Wagon? Where there was like this mining town, and the town was all men.
oh
And what they ended
God,
up doing is they ended up either they kidnapped like a wagon train that was coming through or something happened, and they had them come through the town. So they would have women coming into the town at that point. I mean, it was because there was no women in the town at all. There was none,
so they
and
made a spider
so
trap.
that was the only way. Yeah. So
That's bad,
so
dude. That's about
yeah,
you heard about the
yeah,
story
yeah.
of the Roman Empire. Okay, the founders of the Rome were the two twins that were suckled by a wolf. Okay, so when they got big enough, they got a few guys. So it was all guys, right? And then there was another tribe over here, and they were having they were like, man, we need those chicks. Okay, so what they did, they
Yeah.
made this big festival, and they invited the other tribe over, and the other dudes they brought their women and shit, and they killed the dudes and they kept the women. That's how the Roman, the mythos of the Roman Empire situation got started. And even if it may be a myth or not, there's some truth to that. I mean, whether we talk about
Yeah.
women or where we talk about gold or where we talk about men or whatever resource it could be, if you have a group of people over here thinking that you have something they want and you cannot defend yourself, and this is why, look, I advocate responsible gun ownership. I do not advocate just anybody, and everybody, having guns because there are some people with mental problems, schizophrenia, bipolar, situations like that. If they don't have their medications, we all know that they're prone to do irrational things. Maybe they're not might not be the best candidate for a gun. But the average man, woman, the housewife or husband, wife, or whatever, they should be armed. It should be your civic obligation, you know. Uh,
I have no issue with like going to Texas and seeing people walk around or Arizona. I mean, I have no issue with that at all. I mean, you just they walk around and they've got their sidearm right there, and
right.
you got to think twice before you do anything.
Yes. I mean, we got a commenter right
Um,
now, and he's true. We should, um, everyone should have the right to protect themselves. And also with this medical marijuana, the legalization, I look at that seriously. Like it's just like the prohibition days. We're living basically in the prohibition days. You have
yeah,
the mob over there with the barrels of whiskey coming down from Canada, but instead now you have people, coming up from Mexico's with kilos or whatever. All right. There's a country, it's called Portugal. Portugal has all the drugs legal, all of them. Have you heard about Portugal
no,
blurring up into flames and civil war? No, because people are responsible.
no,
They truly are.
yeah,
They
yeah,
truly are.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, we got Dimebag on the line now.
yeah.
Everybody's are commenting in the bar over there. Debbie behind the scenes, Dimebag. You know, look. I mean, the cool thing about this, the cool thing about America. I want to say this here is we still have the right to have shows like Special Report and the other morning show. We still have the ability to reach out
Yeah.
to people like Jimmy and have them on, and we don't have to fear government censors coming in and hurting, uh, each other, or not hurting each other, but the government hurting us. There are some countries we do not have this privilege to talk like we do. Unless we're talking about our dear leader.
Yeah.
Our dear leader is so awesome. Yeah, we can say that all day. But,
Yeah.
we say some very critical
Yeah.
things, I mean, for the most part,
Yeah.
like, and I'd go ahead and say it. I was having a private conversation with an individual over the weekend. I'm not going to even say who the individual was, but he basically told me the real reason why the troops are being deployed along the southern border was because there was speculation that there was a dirty bomb coming up from South America. The origin country
Yeah.
was basically unknown, but it was traveling up, and that's why they want to intercept it before it hits one of our major cities. And you know what? That being said, I'm all about our borders being protected. I always have been. I think that's one of the main things our federal government should be focusing on, instead of the drug wars and this war and that war. They should be focusing on keeping us safe war, keeping the cartels out,
Yeah.
keeping the undesirables, and not undesirable men and women and children. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the pedophiles, the murderers who have murdered in their country of origin before showing up here. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the guys
Oh, yeah.
and women who are trying to, get away from the warlord or the king or the whoever running that territory. I get that. Nobody wants to be putting up with tyranny. I get it.
No.
Then
No.
that's what America's supposed to
No.
be. We're supposed to be that open door for people trying to
Yeah.
escape all that nonsense. So that being
Right.
said,
Right. And that's and that's fine. But there's ways you go about it. You got to do it
yes,
legally. I
yes,
mean, if you want to come here from another country, then you need to follow what our policies are and be background checked or whatever it takes for you to come here. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've traveled out of the country, and I know a lot of people in this country have not.
yes.
And I'll tell you what, you go to a different country, and I'll tell you what, our laws and rules and regulation are nothing compared to some of these other countries that you go
Right.
to. I mean, you've got to jump through hoops, and if you have one thing that's out of place, they're going to either ship your butt back or they're going to throw your ass in jail, and
Mm,
that's it. And you have no rights.
yeah.
I mean, you have no rights over there.
Zero.
I travel and I fly a lot, and you know what? Every time I go through security, I say thank you. I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do, because I know that it's their job, but they're looking out for my safety. Bottom line. And
Yeah.
I mean, you go to another country and you go through security, and you got military guys there with AK-47s and dogs, and you do one thing wrong, they're just going to shoot you right there. They don't even say, they don't ask questions.
Mm.
It's just the way it is. And then they just throw you out in the back and go, okay, well, you screwed up. Too bad, so sad.
Next.
there's no, yeah, there's no, I'm going to sue or I'm going to complain about being, treated badly because of, my religion, color, or whatever. They don't care.
They don't.
So,
And I hope
there's
people
no suing
understand
the
that.
police department or anything.
What Jimmy's saying is so true. These people over here running their own shit, they do not give a rat's ass. You can keep your Bill of Rights and your Constitution, because it does not apply on foreign soil. It really don't. Unless you're rich and powerful. If you're rich and powerful, then they'll send in a SWAT team to get you out. But if you're just average mom and Paul Kettle, you're gone. History. Done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember I was supposed to go on a trip. I was going to go do a photo shoot in Canada. And I shipped all my gear out there because it was going to be a pretty big shoot. And it became such an ordeal because there was one piece of paper that we didn't have done right for the company that I was going to do the shoot for. And they denied me. I mean, I was literally right there at the airport. They were boarding the plane, and I was on the phone. And they said, do not get on the plane. You are not going to be let into this country. And I said, we'll stop you right here and send your ass right back. Wow. And this was Canada. I mean, Canada is like, one of the easiest countries to get into. And because there was one piece of paper that wasn't done right, they kicked it out. And it took me almost 3 weeks to get all my equipment back. And it was like, And people don't realize that, that other countries have laws and you
Yes.
have no rights. I mean, once you get out, once you step over that border, you know, you have no rights. And
And you need to be
it's
aware
a whole
of the
different ballgame.
laws. You need to be aware of the laws in which
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going, because ignorance of the law is no
Yeah.
defense nowhere on on this whole planet at all.
Well, in America, I think they get away with it a lot, but you go out of the country and they don't care. Out here you could do it. I'm going to threaten you with a lawyer or a
Yeah.
lawsuit, and you know, and the people get all rigged out. I
Well,
mean, so a good example. This is I was going through this firearm safety course, and they were talking about laws and guns rights and stuff, and they were talking about a bank robbery that was going on, and this police officer pulled up. The bank robber came out and shot the cop. So as he was on the ground, the bank robber walked up to him and was just about ready to shoot him in the head, the cop.
mm,
And as he did, another cop pulled up and shot the bank robber. Okay. I
mm.
mean, it was right there. I mean, everything, there's no getting around it. This guy was,
Dead to rights.
he actually killed the cop. Okay. Yeah. Well, the bank robber's family ended up suing and won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the state because of loss of income for what this guy would have earned over his lifetime.
A lifetime of what? Robbing banks? I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a good provider.
And
He
it was
started
cheap. Yeah. So that's what people. I mean, people work the system out here in America, and that's the thing that's wrong. I mean, that's one of the things that's very wrong with stuff out here, and where the bad guys have more rights than the good guys.
Well, yeah. We all have
And
heard of the story. The guy breaks
terrible.
into your house, falls down your steps, and the next thing you know, you're homeless because he sued you. We all have heard that
exactly.
story. And it's not right. It's not right.
Yep.
At all.
Yeah.
So have you ever done any shoots in the Middle East?
No, I've never gone back there. Never gone back there.
Okay. Because that would be interesting to see how getting all your gear through custom and, I'm just still tripping on Canada. One stinking piece of paper. Your papers are not in order.
Yeah.
It's like, this is Canada, right?
Yeah. And this was for a pretty big TV show that I was supposed to go out there and do, and it was like, nope, sorry guys, they didn't care. They didn't care what it was for. But that's their job. That's their job to make sure that things are done right. And there was one thing that wasn't, and they said, too bad, so sad. You're
now, was that on the studio or was that on you to get the paperwork done? Who's
it was actually on the company that I was working for. Was supposed to submit a letter about what I was going to be doing out there,
Gotcha.
And that letter wasn't submitted with all the paperwork.
Gotcha.
And so they just said, yeah, sorry,
Well, at least that doesn't hurt your reputation. You were still doing what you're supposed to do.
No.
You know what I mean? You don't want to, come off like like us on the show. We got to start at 4. We start like 4:15.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
But we're, technical problems. But we are looking towards taking the show on the road, and hopefully when we come out to California, we can swing by your your house and actually do a live show with you in your front yard. And I went,
cool. I'll fire up the barbecue.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So,
and we'll bring beer. A little whiskey.
There you go. I've been told my barbecued ribs are pretty good.
Oh, shoot, yes.
So,
yeah. I mean, lately I've been trying to get into the vegan thing. Just for the health benefits, and I talked to this guy, I just get Chuck, and he gave me such encouragement because it's tough, man. I grew up eating meat, Jimmy. This who I kind of am, and he's like, you don't have to feel guilty about, eating, meat or whatever every once in a while. The important thing is you're trying. You know what I mean? You're really trying to understand the benefit, And I don't look down on people, what they eat or what they don't. I really don't. I'm doing this personally for me and my benefit, getting a little more energy or whatnot, trimming up and whatnot. And, it's a really exciting time. I mean, because we have so much information now. If I had access to the internet when I was 16, it would have been a totally different ball game than it is now. I've been so
Yeah.
much farther along.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. It's a diet is so important nowadays, and part of the issue is with the way things are being processed
yes.
or done. I mean, where I live right now, I don't have a garden, but at my old house, I had a really big backyard, so I actually did my own garden. And as an example, I was never impressed with tomatoes. I've never really. I mean, they're okay, but I never like would be okay. Hey, I want a tomato on this whatever I'm making, and then I grew my own tomatoes, and oh my God, what a difference on the taste and everything else. And it was like, man, I've been missing out for years.
Yes.
But it's so different from what you buy at the store from what you grow naturally. And, that comes into the whole thing about hunting also, I mean, with the meat and everything else. I've got a buddy that's a meat cutter, and he did it for 30 years.
Mm.
And because of dealing with cutting meat and all the antibiotics and everything that they gave to the cattle or whatever, that he was dealing with over those years, he's become immune to antibiotics. He
Oh
can't take
no.
antibiotics anymore. They don't do anything because of all the exposure he's had to that through all the processed meat.
Right.
And and that's one of the big things with hunting, is that you're getting all natural. It's
Right.
the real deal. There's nothing, there's no extra drugs or antibiotics or anything else that goes along with it.
It is. It's
And
clean food. It
you
is
know,
clean. I mean,
yeah,
even
yeah.
like down south, I got buddies that live in Arkansas, and actually that's where my dad's family's from. They hunt wild boars down there. Wild pigs. They're a bit of a nuisance. We got a 48
Oh yeah.
acre farm down there, and they sent me some pictures. Man, they have barbed wire fence, okay, where you have the cows at. They it's like three layers of barbed wire fence, right? Well, it's like these pigs can take their tusks and snap that wire if it's old, and just right on in they go. They'll go into the barn, ramsack your feed in there. They'll try to mess up your all the root, like if you have potatoes or anything, they'll root that stuff up, or any like rooted vegetables or
Yeah,
and seeds and stuff, and they're just like really really are
yeah,
bad. But he's like, you pop one of those things, and some of the best bacon, some of the best food, tasting meat that he has had, and
oh
and
yeah,
that's true. A lot
yeah,
of people feel that you just go to the grocery store just because it's in a little styrofoam box with a little plastic. In some way, that's way safer than say the deer, or what game you have in your
right,
backyard is out there. There's
yeah,
squirrels. I mean, seriously, there's really no reason why there should be any hungry person in America. Seriously, I don't care what environment you
oh
find yourself.
no,
Well, I live in the city. Well, seriously, get a BB gun. You
yeah,
could pop a few pigeons, and I mean, seriously, if you're starving, it's that serious.
yeah,
You could pop a couple of pigeons and
yeah,
skin
yeah,
it and eat it. You really could. It might
oh
not
yeah,
be the
yeah,
most tastiest,
yeah,
but it'll fill your belly.
but right, exactly, exactly. It was I was doing a hunt in Canada, and it was a bear hunt, and all the meat that they got was donated to the shelters out there.
To the
So
people,
everything that
hey.
they shot was donated so that they could feed the people in the shelters.
Now,
And it's like,
now, have you ever heard these things called a live pigeon shoot?
I've never done that.
Okay, there's a guy. Actually, I just recently started talking to him. His name's Steve Hindy. He has a YouTube channel called Sharks. Okay, and it's spelled
Uh-huh.
just like the word shark. Okay, that's his. And his videos. I mean, I was already thinking of vegan stuff before, but when I started seeing his videos, and then when I called him and his wife Janet, and I actually talked to them, you should go on YouTube and research shark. Look at one of those live pigeon shoots. That's not hunting, brother. When you take a pigeon out of a box
Oh,
and just throw it up in the air for a guy to blast with a
oh,
shotgun, and all it is a bunch of rich
yeah,
dudes up in there, popping these birds. I'm telling
right,
you, they're probably doing business back there. They're signing contracts. It's like the who's to get in there. Look, if you want to have an organization like that and a meeting like that, that's cool. But you don't have to have the bloodletting. I mean, when he went on the field
sure,
there, and you saw that pigeon, it's just a pigeon. I get it, but you saw that blood where the BB went in there and the blood pulling up and coming out from underneath his feathers, man. That affected me, dude. I don't know, maybe I'm getting older and, my kids and all that, but that really affected me. It really
Yeah.
did, because I've done my
Yeah.
fair share in hunting and fishing, but everything I ever
Sure.
hunted or fished, I
Yeah.
actually consumed. I ate, I didn't just kill an animal just to be
Yep.
killing an animal. And
Right. Right. Yeah.
the thing about it is that if we don't start conserving our land, there's not going to be nothing for our beautiful babies to have, man. Our river's going to be polluted with
No.
oil and chemical. Our air's going to be polluted with
Yeah.
chemtrails and chemical. Our food that we're literally
Yeah.
eating, you already said it, Jimmy, now, with your buddy that was the
Yeah.
meat cutter, will be polluted with chemicals
Yeah.
and that. So there'll be nothing for our babies to
Yeah.
nourish their little bodies with. That's all I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to get
Yeah.
people to change their
Oh,
lifestyle drastically, but let's try to conserve this planet. We only get one Earth, guys. We only get one.
right. It's like anything else. It's all about moderation.
Yes.
Moderation and control. I
Yes.
mean, and that's part of the hunting. And the whole thing about the hunting industry also is that it's about not just about going out and killing stuff, but it's about keeping the numbers in check.
Yes.
And people don't understand that either, because if you just look at hogs. Wild hogs are a
Oh
good
yeah.
example right there.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, Texas has become overrun with them. They're tearing up the farmlands. They're killing the livestock.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's going to roll down to us also, because they're eating all the fields out there, which are the farmers, which provide us with food.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was in Arizona doing a mountain lion hunt, and you have to draw a tag out there, and they're only allowed so many mountain lions a year. But people don't realize is that the mountain lions, they go to the cattle ranches out there, and a full-grown male mountain lion will kill two. I think it was like 1 to 2 full-grown cows a week,
Wow.
and that's one male. And you think of somebody as a farmer, or a rancher that's out there, and that's his livelihood. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money, and so that's why they keep them in check. And also because you don't want to have 20 mountain lions in an area, because now they're going to start starving to death. They're going to start coming into the communities. Then all of a sudden your
Cat and
poor little
dog.
Fluffy in the backyard is going to be gone. So because
Be replaced with a poop
so
emoji.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly how big,
Yep.
Jimmy, is a mountain lion? When you said it, because I know how big a cow is. I never really dealt with a mountain.
Right.
Like, how big is it from where the tail starts at the butt to the nose? About how big is that mountain lion? Oh, hello? Oh, no. Oh, crap. This is only on special report, folks. Technical problems. Shit. Oh, God. Sorry, folks. The new situation here just died. Um, shit. Hopefully this is the right number. Okay. Oh my God. Hello? Oh, crap. Fucking technology. Oh, man.
Hi, this is Jim Blakely,
Oh,
JTV Photography. Cell phone. Please leave your name, number, and message, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
well, we're going to try him back one more time, folks. It went right to voicemail. So we'll try him back, and we're gonna do this because we can. This is a brand new setup. So I got a brand new setup here. I'm trying to do, and it was working flawless.
Hello?
Hello, Jimmy. I'm sorry about that. My brand
Not a
new
problem.
setup here malfunction. I had just asked you about the mountain lion. About how
Right.
long is it from where the tail hits the butt of it all the way to the nose?
I'm not sure about the length. It just depends on the maturity. But you're going to be looking at a good, maybe 4 to 5 feet from tail to nose, depending on a full grown male.
Mm.
And, weight wise, you can get them from, 125 to 250 pounds, depending on the environment they're in and where they live.
Man, that has to be incredibly strong to take down a bull. Incredibly strong.
Yeah. Well, you remember, cattle and stuff, they're very pretty mellow. And for them to come into a field with a bunch of cows just standing there, I mean, it's like, that's easy picking. That's very easy pickings for them, So where if you're talking like a deer or an elk, they got to chase and run down, that's going to take more energy than what they really want to put into it. So, environment there. It's all about, is the food worth the cost of what it's going to do to get it, because it's all about survival. And if it's going to take them, if they got to run something down that's, where they can get injured or hurt, or, just the energy it takes to do that compared to where you got a cow standing in the field and all they got to do is walk up behind it and boom, they've got dinner.
They got to do that.
So,
don't blame them. Don't blame them. Everything has to eat. Everything has to eat. And I don't begrudge animals from sometimes, as we humans say, it's a nuisance. I get it. They come into our deal, but they have to eat too, guys. They do. But but like Jimmy said,
honestly, we're moving into their backyard.
Yeah. It is a two-way street. It is a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's just that we have the brain power and the muscle and the guns. They have nothing. I mean, they have fangs and claws. Trust me, that will tear your ass up. But if there was a war, we'll pretty much come on top. We would.
Yeah.
Until they start making nuclear bombs.
Yeah. But I mean, in California, we actually have a very severe mountain lion issue problem out here in California. And when you go backpacking in the trails out here, you'll see signs up there all the time. Be careful, be cautious. High mountain lion area out here. We have them that come down, out of the mountains because they're hungry and they're walking through the neighborhood. And it's because we have no regulation on them out here. You can't hunt them, and they just run wild out here. And so they become overpopulated, and what happens is they start looking for easy prey. And
have people been attacked?
They come out here and we have people. We have at least a couple of attacks every year out here. I live in the high desert out here, and it's kind of a funny story. It made the local news out here. This guy had a garage. And he used to leave the garage open all the time. And so one day he pulled in from work and he heard this noise coming out of his garage. Well, he thought it was a wild cat, in the garage, and it was, making noise every time he came into the garage. And so after about 4 days of this, noise coming out of there every time he went out there to get in his car, he finally called the city to have animal control to come out there. And, they thought it was just going to be some wild cat that wandered in there. Well, they got in there, started looking for it, and up in the rafters was a full-grown male mountain lion that had decided to take up residence there. I mean, the guy's so lucky he didn't get, become dinner,
Yeah.
So, so.
I can't believe you can't hunt them out there in Cal. So let me throw this hypothetical out there to you, and you tell me what will probably be the outcome. I'm walking in my backyard. I have my sidearm on me, okay? A mountain lion comes running up on me. I take
first of all, Okay, first of all, you wouldn't be allowed to do that anyway. So that's your first mistake. You're not allowed to carry a sidearm.
No, I'm not in the street. I'm not on public ground. I'm not out there in the street. I'm literally in my backyard.
You cannot do that.
Wow. Even in my backyard?
Not unless you have a permit. You have to have a CCW permit to do that. That's
crazy. That's crazy. I know that's crazy.
Yeah, even let's say you have like 3 acres of land out here and you're going outside to, pull some tumbleweeds or whatever, you cannot carry a firearm unless you have a permit.
On your own property? I don't see how it can be. Okay, I can understand if you guys want to be all nanny about being on the road or in public. I get it. Down in the station or at Walmart. I get it, okay? Be nanny. But on my own land, on my land that I'm paying taxes on and I'm tending to, I cannot carry a sidearm. Well, fuck. Can I
Nope.
carry one in my
Nope. Not at
house?
all.
Indoors, can I carry one in my house?
Inside your house, you can. Yes. Yes.
Wow. Well, thank
So,
you. Thank you, California. Oh, we're
yeah.
unworthy. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, so no, where
well,
so if I did
yeah.
shoot a mountain lion, then I'm going to jail for possessing a illegal or having a weapon in a illegal area. Damn, dude. So in other
Yeah.
words, they expect you just to get eaten
Yeah.
up or run away or something.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Pretty much.
Now that
So,
right there in a nutshell,
yeah.
folks, that is what's wrong with our fucking country. This man just sat here and told me, even
Yeah.
on your own fucking ground, you cannot have a firearm in the state of California, which, I get, there's so many people out there that, they look at guns and guns are evil. Whatever, that's irrational, but sure. But I find that really sad. Uh-oh. Hello, Jimmy, are
Yeah.
you? Oh,
No, it's terrible. So,
well,
yeah, and if you're going to take it out of your house, it's got to be in a case, and it's got to be empty, and it's got to have a lock on it.
well, what about hunting season then, Jimmy? What about hunting season?
Hunting season's out here. You'd be carrying a rifle, and you've got to be in certain areas, and you got to follow the rules and regulations. And you're not allowed to carry a sidearm unless you're licensed to do it.
So rifles cool, pistols uncool. Got it. So
Yep.
maybe
But you got to have your tags and everything.
maybe one day all the criminals will get that memo too, and be like, well, we'll just run around here with rifles. We won't have no sidearms.
Oh yeah. Well, no, we have the safe gun zones out here.
What are those?
So that means that there is no guns allowed in that area at all. It's called a safe gun zone.
So even the
And
cops
so,
don't have guns.
no,
Even the cops that may go
no,
in
the
there.
cops will have guns there.
Oh, okay. So they're
Yeah,
they're cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what
But,
makes a cop?
but me as a private citizen, I'm not allowed. As a private citizen, I could go to a safe gun zone and know I'm totally protected because there's no guns allowed in that area.
Wow, dude, I can't believe that. I can't believe people thought so. I mean, seriously, what makes cops so more of a citizen or more worthy of human than an average man woman that didn't do any crime? What makes
because because they're there to protect us. I mean, so let's say I'm in a safe gun zone and somebody walks in there with a gun, and my responsibility is to go call the cops and wait for them to show up, and tell the guy just to hang on. The cops are on the way.
Yeah. I'm sure the maniacs. Okay, yeah. Let me just hold on. Can you give me a cup of coffee and a burger while I sit here? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna all be toast, man.
As long as you're not at Starbucks, though, okay? You got to be careful. So
Stop! Oh my God! Don't even go to the Starbucks deal, man.
So,
Don't even go to the Starbucks
yeah,
deal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. We can't give you the bathroom keys. Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing is true though. I forgot who I was talking to, but it is true. Wherever you find armed people, you'll find polite people. If everyone's armed in a situation, typically you do not find no assholes or someone talking out of character. People are very polite and they're very decent. You know why? Because if you don't, then someone put your ass down. And so, just keep that in mind.
Exactly.
When you're wondering, why is the whole world going to shit and no one has any way to protect themselves? No wonder kids don't go out in California and do anything. Shit. I wouldn't want to go down the woods if I didn't have no weapon with me. That'd be retarded. Anything can run up on you. But whatever. That's enough of my little tirade. I haven't drunk anything yet today, so I can't do one of my famous rants yet. It's just now 12 o'clock here. Well, Jimmy, I just want to say thank you so much, brother, for coming on Special Report with me. And I'm sorry for the technical hiccup here during the show, but hopefully we'll have you on later on more times this year, and keep on. But before you go, real quick, I know you kind of told us last time, but if you was a person just getting into photography and or film, what camera brand or specific camera would you recommend for said individual?
It's kind of a personal choice. I do still photography, so I was brought up with Canon, and I've always stayed with them. I've always had good luck with them. They've always treated me very well. I've got some buddies that shoot Nikon. Nikons have been very reliable in the field that I've worked in. And so it's kind of like, anything else, you got to find what works for you and what you like. To me, I've been shooting with it for years, and I've got, everything works well with it. I know it like, the back of my hand. I don't have to think about it. And that's my choice. It's like anything else, it's a kind of a personal choice thing. You got to see what works and what's going to do the job for what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there it is, folks.
Um,
Well, this has been Jimmy Blakely. This has been Special Report. I'm TruePowerIsMine. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day, Jimmy.
too. Have a good one.
All right, later. Oh, now this is okay. Yeah, well, folks, thank you for watching the show. We do have a new audio situation. Hopefully, the audio was really good today. And man, just thank you for all the support. I do want to give a couple announcements. We will have John Lear on the other morning show tomorrow at I believe. Hold on. 7 p.m. Central Time. John Lear will be on, and next week on this channel here on Special Report, Dr. Jacqueline Batalera, and it will be at 11 a.m. Central Time. So check us out at Special Report. Thank you all for watching. Peace.